Okay, when I say Colombia, what's the first thing that pops into your head? It's probably coffee, right? World-class, amazing coffee. But what if I told you that the country's incredible mountains are hiding another secret? One that's just as amazing and flows from a bottle. Today, we are uncorking the totally surprising story of Colombian wine.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Wine? From the tropics? It sounds completely backwards. I mean, grapes are famous for being super picky. They hate hot, humid weather. So how on earth can a country right on the equator produce quality wine? Well, that's the exact puzzle we're going to solve today.
To really get why this is such a big deal now, we've got to look back because for the longest time, making great wine in Colombia wasn't just hard. It seemed pretty much impossible.
The story actually kicks off way back in the 16th century. Spanish colonizers show up and plant the first grapevines, mostly for making religious wine. But for the next few hundred years, it was just a constant losing battle. The humidity, the rain, the diseases, they just wrecked any chance at making good wine. Fast forward to the 20th century, and all you could really find was simple, rustic table wine for the locals. But then, bam, the 21st century hits and everything starts to change. A true quality renaissance begins. So after all those centuries of trying and failing, what finally cracked the code? What was the secret ingredient? Well, it wasn't a new technique or some magic grape. It was written right there in the landscape itself. It was all about altitude. The Andes Mountains, they are the ultimate game changer. And listen, when we say altitude, we're not talking about rolling hills. We are talking extreme altitude. Some of the most exciting new vineyards, like the ones up in Boyacá, are planted at a staggering 2,600 meters. That is over 8,500 feet above sea level. Just let that sink in.
Okay, so this is the big aha moment. This is where it all clicks. Down in the tropical lowlands, it's a nightmare for grapes. It's hot, it's sticky, there's disease everywhere. You get unhappy grapes. But you climb way up into the Andean highlands, and it's like a whole different world. You get these brilliant sunny days that are perfect for ripening, but, and this is the crucial part, the nights get really cold. That massive drop in temperature, what we call the thermal swing, that's the golden ticket. It lets the grapes take a break, build up all these complex flavors, and hold on to their acidity. Basically, the altitude creates this secret little temperate microclimate hiding right in the middle of the tropics.
But look, a great climate isn't the whole story, right? You also need the right foundation under your feet and the right plants in the ground. The soil and the kind of grapes you choose are just as important.
And this is where Colombia has another ace up its sleeve, its geology. In those key wine regions like Valle del Cauca and Boyacá, the ground is full of mineral-rich volcanic soils. They drain incredibly well and give the wines this really distinct, crisp mineral character. You mix that with other soils like alluvial and clay, and you've got this amazing, complex tapestry for the vines to grow in. This is where it gets really cool. You know, seeing how cleverly these winemakers are adapting. They aren't just planting whatever. They're picking classic international grapes that are expressing themselves in totally new and exciting ways here. So a Sauvignon Blanc from Colombia isn't just grassy. Nope, it's bursting with these amazing tropical notes of passion fruit and guava. And Pinot Noir, a grape that is notoriously fussy, finds a perfect home in these cool climates, making these really elegant, fresh red wines.
So, you've got all these amazing natural advantages. How do you actually turn that potential into world-class wine? Well, it all comes down to this modern renaissance, and it's being driven by a few key things.
This whole transformation is really being pushed forward from 4 directions at once. First, you've got these pioneers who are literally climbing higher into the mountains, looking for the perfect spot. Then, there's serious research and investment in technology to get the grapes and the winemaking just right. And finally, you have this growing excitement from locals and tourists, creating a real market that fuels this whole amazing cycle.
So let's take a quick tour of where all the action is. First up, you have Boyacá. This is your poster child for that high-altitude elegance. We're talking crisp Sauvignon Blanc, delicate Pinot Noir. Then you've got Valle del Cauca, a real hub of innovation on those rich volcanic soils, producing some more powerful wines like Syrah. And you've got to keep your eyes on Huila. It's this super promising southern frontier that's just starting to show what it can do.
With all this incredible momentum, you have to ask, what's next? Well, the future for Colombian wine looks just as breathtaking as the Andes themselves.
You know, I came across this quote that just perfectly captures the bigger picture here. This isn't just about farming or a new drink. These wines are becoming a new kind of ambassador, telling the story of a nation that is innovating, reinventing itself, and finding totally new ways to show its unique identity to the rest of the world.
And that leads us with one final, pretty provocative thought. As so many of the world's classic wine regions are starting to face the serious challenges of a warming planet, could these high-altitude tropical vineyards, these little cool climate islands in a warm world, hold a secret, not just for Colombia, but for the very future of wine itself? It is definitely something to think about the next time you open a bottle.